There's no us without you, so we say thank you. Started from the bottom, now we are here.
We were known to be the naughty ones in university. For whatever reasons, I don't know. To this day, when people see me and say, so you're actually a minister, you.
How?
You serve a living God.
Welcome to Nkwazi Unfiltered. This is the podcast that brings you Zambia's most remarkable and fascinating individuals. These are people who are in the public space that you know in one facet, but we bring you a side of them that most people don't actually know. We get to delve into their personal lives, their history and their stories, and stuff that is not common knowledge or in the public space. Today is no exception. We've got an incredible gentleman who is going to be chatting with us. He's a man who spent several years, over 10 years, in fact, in the marketing space. He is a man who also loves the hospitality industry and has been a major player in it for years on end, which led him into a position that is best suited for the experience that he garnered over the years. The man we have is the sitting Member of Parliament for Livingstone and also holds the position of the Honorable Minister of Tourism here in the Republic of Zambia. By now, you know who we're talking about, and our guest today is Honorable Rodney Sikumba. Welcome to the podcast this afternoon.
Thank you very much for inviting me to the podcast, as it's called, Nkwazi Unfiltered.
Unfiltered, that's right. No holds barred, unscripted, and we'll have a conversation. And it's just catching the breeze and getting to find out a bit more about you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for having me.
Yeah, so most people have met you in the different portfolios that are highlighted. But we would love to hear your origin story. Where were you born? And a bit about your background.
Well, thank you very much again, Kamiza, for inviting me to this podcast. Very, very delighted. I just want to apologize for having had to postpone it over and over again. Probably I was just trying to conjure up my courage to say it's unfiltered. What questions will I be asking me? But nonetheless, I'm here. So obviously my name, Rodney Sikumba, born, bred in Livingstone, Zambia. I was born on the 29th of March, 1980. I'm an Aries. And I've lived my life pretty much in Livingstone until about the time when I moved out of Livingstone to come to the University of Zambia a couple of years ago. I suppose it's a long time ago. But obviously, as I mentioned, born, bred in Livingstone, and I've been having such an amazing time in Livingstone. And one thing for sure is from the time I left Livingstone, that was in 99 or thereabout, coming to university, I didn't realize that the day I left Livingstone was the day I never went back to Livingstone.
Oh, wow.
But just fast forward, I'll certainly tell you that the only time I went back to Livingstone was 35 years, well, when I turned 35, that is.
Wow.
And that was pretty much when I retired from corporate world.
Right.
I thought I could retire quite early so that I have a bit of life.
Energy
To do other things that I can possibly do. But almost so to just understand that I'm the third born of a family of 6.
Right.
And then obviously my dad snuck in another one. Then we became 7, which was very interesting, who's our youngest, Rebecca. I'm the third born, as I mentioned, in the family of 7. And unfortunately, we lost 2 of our siblings. So we're remaining with the 5 of us in Livingstone. We all disintegrated. When I say disintegrated, we all found ourselves in different places.
Wow.
My older sister is still in Livingstone. I'm here in Lusaka. My immediate young brother is in Nairobi. He's a doctor. He's a vet doctor.
Right.
My youngest, the last but one, just got back from Namibia. He spent a lot of time in Namibia. Now he's relocated back to Zambia. And then our youngest just graduated from university. as a public health specialist.
Wow.
So that's how small our family is. And then, obviously, in terms of my work career, soon after university, and it's a very interesting story. I think when we wrote our last exams, there was one time where a couple of friends and I were saying, should we go back home?
Right.
And I said, okay, do we have to go back home? I said, look, back in Livingstone, I'm probably just going to be one of those who'll be enjoying drinking with tourists, sundowners every day. But then I realized that I needed to find something really, really quick to see how best I could really integrate myself into the working space. And unfortunately, one day I got a call from one of my cousins who said, look, listen, there's an employment opportunity somewhere at Professional Insurance. I was like, really? Yeah, they're looking for graduate trainees. I said, look, let me give it a shot. Fast forward, did my application.
Wow.
And within 2 weeks, now remember, because I didn't have a home here, quote unquote.
Right.
So we were staying in university in the residences for the duration until when the first years were coming in. So we had a very, very limited time to ensure that between then and now, I needed to find a job so that when the first years come in, I'm out of there and I've got a job. So fortunately, a week before the university opened, I was called for interviews. A week later, I was accepted to start my job as a graduate trainee at Professional Insurance. Very, very lucky. Now, then again, we all know, fine, I have to leave university. Then I had to start scrounging, looking around for my friends from Livingstone who had relocated into Lusaka to see how we can possibly squat. And it wasn't, life is so funny. You can only imagine that I found a friend of mine, then he was working for Barclays. You probably would know him.
Very possibly so.
Mutukwa.
Surprise.
Yeah, surprise. So then I got a hold of him. I said, dude, I need somewhere to squat.
Right.
I got a job. I can't go back to Livingstone. So what do you think? He says, look, we have a 2-bedroomed apartment with my good friend Clemmy and myself here. So what do? I said, look, I'll be squatting in your room. Let's see. We'll be going half and half in terms of rentals and all that. And then that's how it started. The rest is history. From there, I spent 2.5 years in Professional Insurance as a graduate trainee. And then suddenly, again, a colleague of mine who went to school with at St. Raphael's a couple of years ago said, look, there's an opportunity in Airtel. And his draw card, he actually baited me, said, look, Mfana, but wasenze kusehotel. Nzakugurira motoka yanyu. I promise you, it was one of those no-brainers.
Didn't take a moment.
Almost immediately, I just did my resignation letter. And I was. That's how I started my career in the FMCG.
Right.
And it's been on and on and on for a very long time. Obviously, you know very well, we moved from the likes of Celtel to Zain.
That's right.
And then to Airtel.
Correct.
So we're in all that spectra. And at some point, I've always told my kids to say, look, you need to be known for something. And when you say something, I gave myself an example. I said, do you know that I used to be called Rodney Airtel? I was like, what?
Yes.
It's Rodney Airtel. If you check someone's phone, it's Rodney
Airtel.
That's how you say it. I'll save it as Rodney
saved.
Airtel. Because I was so invested in selling talk time and SIM cards for a very long time. And yes, I stayed in there for that long. And then I eventually left Airtel because I thought I could find an opportunity. I was getting older. I didn't want to really mess up my youth to a large extent. So I told myself, maybe let me do an MBA. And that's how I broke out to say, look, let me go and do an MBA in the US. Went there. Fortunately, again, surprise, the person you know very well was my director then, Meito Shimavara.
Yes.
I said, boss, I need you to give me a sabbatical. He said, look, we don't do those things here. I said, look, I don't know how you do it, but look, I'll be happy to give it to you, but just convince the CEO.
Right.
The MD then. And yes, funny enough, I went to my CEO then, Fayaz King. He said, why not?
Brilliant.
Go ahead. And that's how I took my 2-year sabbatical leave.
Wow.
And probably the second person in the organization who had taken that.
Right.
I'm very eternally grateful for that. I took off. When I got back, I still found my job there.
Amazing.
I just got blended back into the job. Very interesting. Then I found my very good boss who was in charge. I Again, surprise, surprise, somebody you know, Joseph Kafari, man. Very interesting times.
We seem to know the same people.
Absolutely. And yeah, so I worked with Joseph for 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. And that's the time that I said, maybe not. Fast forward, I said, look, maybe I'm a little bit tired now in this corporate world. I was really going down,
Right.
almost at the verge of being disengaged.
Right.
And that's when I said, okay, fine, look, let me look for another opportunity. And then Samsung came on board.
Yes.
Very interesting. It was a very short period for Samsung, and I'll tell you why. And I think at the time, because I was really towards my end of my corporate
stint.
career,
Right.
stint, I did my Samsung for a couple of days, months, and then the then CEO said, look, I want you to go and run the Mozambique operation. I was like, Mozambique? That's okay, fine, interesting. So we traveled to Mozambique with him for a few days.
Right.
So that I suss out the environment and all. Then I was like, okay, interesting. Why not?
Right.
The second day, prior to our departure, I got a call from Zambia. And then who phones me? My good friend, Tresfos Wasa.
Right.
I said, Chief, I have an opportunity for you in Zamtel. I said, what? I said, yeah, I'm leaving Zamtel. And I've just told my director, my chief, that you're the best
There's
person.
a replacement.
There's a replacement. You will not leave a gap. So I'm like, Zamtel? I'm like, no, I don't think Zamtel would work for me. Next thing, the chief calls me, One Lozindaba, Sakara.
Yes.
And man, she was like, hey, you don't need buena. I'm like, okay, fine, no problem. Then I said, send me the offer. They sent me the offer. Again, it was something very, very sweet.
Yeah.
And again, the rest is history. I took off got back from Mozambique.
Right.
And next thing on a Monday, I was in the Zamto boardroom in a management meeting, having moved on.
Oh.
And it was then, unfortunately, I don't know if it's fortunate or unfortunately, when I was walking out of the boardroom, then I met my CEO from Samsung, who was coming for a meeting at Zamtel.
Oh, my word.
And this is where I got my name called Strange Guy. So he looked at me and said, Strange Guy.
Awkward moment.
Awkward moment. But then I still went back to James Yu. I told him, I said, look, you gave me a very good opportunity. Thank you very much.
Right.
And I think it was very, very exciting. And then, yeah, so I spent 3 years in Zamtel.
Wow.
A very good 3 years. And little did I know that I was actually being groomed to understanding working within the civil service,
Right,
the private,
right.
the government circles, as it were.
You were smack in the middle of a parastatal and
Absolutely.
started to understand how that machinery works.
Just really getting to understand how the machinery works. Very, very interesting times, I must say, for the 3 years. And then, yeah, so when I turned, I remember very, very well. So it was in Feb, and I was going to turn 35. I said, look, instead of renewing my contract, let me just call it quits.
Right.
Let me go and recalibrate and find my space somewhere.
Right.
Then, obviously, as per usual, because I was sitting in Osaka, and I told my colleagues, I said, look, I'm relocating. I'm moving back to Livingston. And as you can imagine, everybody would be like, what? You're leaving Osaka and going back to Livingston? I said, yes.
Wow.
I'm headed back to Livingston.
Full circle.
Full circle. That's where I come from. And I think I need to go and give back. I've been away for too long.
Right.
And let me just see what I can possibly do in Livingston. And that's how I went back into Livingston.
Right. Now, amazing. So I know for a fact that your dad was a hotelier.
Absolutely.
Did he have an influence on you going into the hospitality space?
Do you know what's so funny is, for some reason, if you're going to Google the Sikumbas, the bulk of us are into hospitality. And I'll tell you why, or probably how. So obviously my dad, very humble education and whatnot, rose through the ranks into becoming the general manager for the then Northwestern Hotel.
Right.
And then obviously I had an uncle also, two of them actually, who used to be an Intercontinental in Livingston, one of them in Livingston, one of them here in Lusaka. We all know that Intercontinental, there's Intercontinental Sotunya and then Intercontinental
yes.
here, which obviously is the Royal Livingston and the
Correct.
Avani.
Correct.
So yes, fast forward, our firstborn, may he rest in peace, Jeffrey, he actually went through Fairview.
Oh.
HTTI.
So straight into hospitality. It's like
Straight
career
into
hospitality.
Career hospitality. And I can safely tell you that our firstborn, my older brother, has a lot of influence on my life and my career.
Right.
And he was very, very determined. He's a guy who could cook.
Oh.
And unfortunately, I think I picked up from him. I'm not lazy in the kitchen.
Yeah. You've got skills.
I know my way around the kitchen. That's one thing for sure. So we grew up, as I mentioned. In fact, the one point that I didn't mention to you is that of the 7,
right,
of the first 6, we only had one girl who's my older sister, immediate older sister.
So it was basically a band of brothers.
It's a band of
one
brothers.
sister.
So, band of brothers and a sister. So everything that we used to do, obviously, we used to compliment our sister.
Right.
If it's cleaning the house, if it's doing the dishes, if it's doing the laundry,
right,
that's something that I'm very much accustomed to. And
normal life.
It's normal life.
Right.
And sometimes, we never had pavers where we used to live.
No,
it was sand. So during this period when there's so much wind and then there's leaves all over, we'd be the ones to be sweeping the yard.
Oh, yes.
So we know that kind of stuff. So I feel for my house help sometimes. I look at her, I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
You can't be cleaning like that. But in any case, so yes, so we had our firstborn older brother who obviously went straight into hospitality.
Right.
Then we learned from it. Obviously, so we lost our parents when we were pretty young. That I'll need to tell you. So we lost our mom when I was only 14. And then we lost our dad when I was 21. Oh. So we had to really consolidate amongst ourselves as siblings. And I think that's what really drew us together, because we had to be our brothers and sisters' keeper along the way. Then obviously we lost our older brother, obviously after our 2 parents. Not so far apart actually. Oh. So it was quite a tough experience, if I could say so myself. But yes, so then fast forward today, obviously I started something totally different from hospitality.
Right.
But I think the attachment to the hospitality
the
itself,
roots were there.
The roots were there, having to really go about finding my way within the kitchen, and also understanding that our late dad was into hospitality. Our mom used to really conjure up a very good meal as well. Yeah. So it was one of those families where we really liked to cook.
Right.
Along the way. Right. And it's something that I've really tried to inculcate in my kids as well, to just let them know, to say, look, you just can't be lazy and thinking.
No, learn how to do this.
You need to learn how to do this.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. And speaking of childhood memories, from what you've highlighted, you grew up in a typical Zambian home where everybody pulls their weights and everybody's got responsibilities and everybody helps out. What's your fondest childhood memory?
Well, I suppose what was really, really exciting was our Sundays, weekends, obviously, because obviously my mom was a career woman. She used to work for customs then, and then ZRA.
Right.
So it was pretty much busy. She had a senior position, as it were. So, but we always looked out for weekends, and the weekends would be like, where are we going? They used to like to take us swimming. That's one thing for a fact. There used to be birthday parties and so forth. So we really, really used to enjoy doing that. And ultimately, because she used to have quite a number of friends, so we'd be visiting our relatives, would be visiting their friends and their families to just have fun. And also, the usual cookouts that they used to do on weekends, you'd actually get to know, to say, look, either you're cooking something or you're baking something. And look, today I sit here and say, look, if I'm going to bake bread, I'm just thinking, I said, do you know that we actually used to get yeast, hot water, boil it, put it in the sun for some time, do the dough, put it in the sun for a long time, put it in a pan, put it in the sun for a long time for the dough to cure, and then that's when it goes in the oven. That was a day-to-day thing to do. So today when I look at people say, self-raising flour, I say, what?
Like, no, we can't do that.
We don't do self-raising.
That's cheating.
That's cheating. You need to do the whole shebang. So that's what you used to do. And I think when we were growing up, that is what our parents used to do. Over and above really going to school, most of the time they make sure that there's some family time, ultimately. My dad was busy doing other things. My mom was busy doing something else. But at some point, they really wanted to find time to look at how best we could sit as a family and enjoy.
Oh, brilliant. And obviously, as the family dynamics go, there's always the obedient child. There's the rebel. There's the one who sort of gets swayed. What kind of a child were you? Were you disciplined, or were you the renegade one?
But I'll tell you what, I think there's a way on how the middle child gets
The middle
to operate.
child issues.
Yeah. And I think I was the guy who used to pull everybody together. Look, this is Nkwazi Unfiltered, and I will tell you this for a fact. So I had my two older siblings, my older brother and my sister. These two, I can tell you, never got along. So the mediator in all the time was myself.
Oh, gosh. Peacemaker.
I was a peacemaker. So I got along with both of them, but they never got along with each other.
Hey.
And I think my parents at the time actually got to notice that this one is always the mediator. So
Right.
ultimately, as a mediator, you need to subdue.
Right.
You should always be the person who reasons
Yes.
with everybody else. So that's what used to happen. And then fortunately, then my other younger siblings just saw wisdom in me, and then they became a little bit chilled out.
Right.
So there's always this firstborn tendency. You know, firstborns are a little bit of a problem.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was our firstborn. Our firstborn was a bit of a renegade, but I can tell you there could have been some method in his madness.
Yeah? You figured it out.
I figured it out along the way as I grew older. But for me, I was a chilled out person.
Right.
Most people would not understand that I was from grade 1 to grade 7. I will tell you. And another person who might know who used to go in school with is Vincent Chunga.
Yes.
So it was a fight from Livingston. In class, either I'm number 1, number 2, him and I, grade 1 to grade 7.
So you competed right through.
Competed
made
right
each other
through.
better.
But I can tell you, Vincent was a problem. We just used to think his brains were like overflowing half the time. When he's number 1, he's actually gotten 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%. They'll be like, dude, that's not fair. That's like cheating.
Leave something for us.
Leave something for us. So I'll be one of those who'll be like number 1, number 2, number 3. One of those
Right.
at any given time. Then I think I seem to have gotten off the rail pretty much when mom died, because it just didn't make sense to me.
Right.
And I think, in all honesty, the only real funeral that I knew in my life was when I was 14. And that's when my mom died. It didn't make sense that my mom would die.
Right.
Actually.
Right.
And yeah, because then obviously before that, it was my late grandfather, my dad's dad.
Right.
But then I was younger. I was probably about 9, 10 or thereabout, if I'm not mistaken. But that's the time I just said, no, it's not normal. I probably started to ask God, I said, what happened here? What could have happened?
I like that you've mentioned that because I think we'll do a quick segue on that. And that's the issue of support when young children are grieving and trying to make sense of what's happened. What level of support did you receive, and from whom? Or was it the classic, man up, be tough now and deal with it?
No, I think on that part, that's when my dad really stepped up.
Right.
And I think he knew that the pillar in the family over and
Right.
above his busy schedule
Right.
was the wife. And he had to roll up his sleeves and say, look, I need to take care of these kids. And it was 6 of us.
Right.
And
Right.
and that we were really at our prime. My older brother was just getting to school, university.
Right.
I was just like in grade 9, if I'm not mistaken. My sister was like in grade 11. And then we had our younger siblings.
Right.
So you can only imagine it's our formative years.
Exactly.
For me, it was my rebellious years. 14 is, look, I've got it.
That's it. That's
It's-
it's that time.
It's that time. So I think my dad did a fantastic job. And I vividly remember a point where he actually pulls us together. If you haven't eaten, you'd actually get in the kitchen. And again, I think
Right.
it's something that really made me step up also. I said, look, you can only do bad by yourself,
Exactly.
ultimately. And
Exactly.
if no one is going to do it for you, do it yourself. Make your own bed, as I always say.
Right.
So I think my dad did a fantastic job. And then my dad's sister, my aunt, Auntie Josephine, really also stepped up, looking at his brother, said, look, maybe I'm the woman.
Right.
Maybe let me see what I can possibly do. She did played a very big role in terms of making sure that at least we paid attention going to school. But as I mentioned, I think it's just about that time when I was talking about really being the straight child.
That's right.
At 14, 15, I slightly got off the rail.
And you're like, nah.
I said, no. So then I think something else happened. Discernment came in. I think somebody...
Like, this isn't me.
This isn't me. So by the time I was getting to grade 12, I said, look, if I maybe pull up your brakes. And then suddenly, yes, that's when I moved. So to answer your question, I think I was the sober child.
Right.
Not rebellious, not otherwise, but I was just one of those who was the mediator.
I hear you. And so in secondary school, what drove you to pursue a particular course of study?
Well, I think I'll be very honest with you. For a very long time, finding myself doing economics is a case of saying, what can I possibly do to get into government? And ultimately, what I wanted was to just really get into government. Now, remember also, Kamiza, when you're growing up, there are times when parents would actually dictate to say you can either be a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, and whatnot. So I was like, okay, fine, yeah. So what do you want me to be? And as I mentioned earlier, my dad came from a very humble education. So he really just wanted the best for his children.
Yeah.
And I can safely tell you, if there's a man that I know of, I'm sure there's other parents who actually sacrifice, is my dad. He really worked hard to make sure that fees are paid and so forth. So, hindsight, I told myself, I'm going to go to school, go to university. When I'm done, my dad is going to find me a job.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey.
And then here I am, first year in university, my dad dies.
Yeah.
Okay. Bummer. Yeah. What am I going to do now? Who's going to find me a job? But like I mentioned, that's all I was looking out for. But if you look at where I am today and my trend in my career, have I used anything with what I got from my 4 years at UNZA? Maybe not. I think what I got out was the camaraderie, the people I knew, my networks that I've created.
The serious networks
the
for
serious
life.
networks. Yeah. And also just learning how to live with somebody who's not your relative. When you're actually bundled with somebody to be sharing a room, it'd be like, Kamiza, who?
Like, no, where are you from? Exactly.
No, I don't live like that. I don't eat carpenter. I eat sardines.
Yeah, no, what is this? This is beneath me.
And I think for me, that is what was more important.
Right.
Learning how to just live with other people, which obviously made me who I am today. And obviously the networks that we've created along the way.
There's no us without you, so we say thank you. Started from the bottom, now we are here.
Yeah, and so during your university days, anything that you look back on fondly and every time you remember it, it makes you giggle.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, when I got to grade 12, I put the break. I said, look, Rodney, this is not you.
Right.
You need to focus. You need to get to university, go through it and whatnot. First year, then my dad dies. Then I get off the road again. But in any case, all I told myself was, look, the best thing that my parents, especially my dad, wanted for us is to just get an education.
Right.
And I think this is what I've carried through with my kids. All I've told them is that if there's something that you want from me, just give me a requisite qualification and I'm okay with you. So here I was in university, very excited. Again, it's freedom.
Yes.
Nobody is asking where you are, where you're going, what you're doing.
You're your own man now.
You're your own man now. So that was fun. Then I pulled together very quickly, formed a pact with a couple of people. Some of them we were together in secondary school, in Livingston at St. Raphael's. Some of them I met just in university, which I think was very, very exciting. I think I picked my friend very well. Those ones who I met at university. And 20 plus years now, we're still a band.
Oh, wow.
Which I think is good. But obviously, we were known to be the naughty ones in university. For whatever reasons, I don't know. To this day, when people see me and say, so you're actually a minister, you.
How?
You serve a living God. I said, but of course.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
That says a lot.
Yeah. So I said, yes, I do serve a living God. But look, there's a reason why. Yeah. God has made me to be in this position.
Yes.
Yeah? It's not how.
Exactly.
So let's just say I had a very exciting 4 years at the University of Zambia.
I'm pretty sure we could find an insider to whisper a thing or two.
Of course.
We'll do an addendum to this edition and episode.
Okay.
And so you ventured into the insurance space. And clearly from our conversation, you can tell you've always been a people person. How did you relate in the work environment? And does anybody stand out who held your hand and showed you the ropes and made life easy for you?
Well, I think in my career, I'll say this very, very clearly. When I started my career, obviously, at professional insurance, it was something new terrain, and I think I was very ambitious. The insurance business today, if I stuck around in that sector, I probably would have set up my own outfit.
Right.
And I think over time, when we used to underwrite, really underwrite, rather than feeding into formulas and whatnot.
Now you sort of
Now it's just
hit a
formula
keyboard.
and then
Exactly.
it's generated. So, I mean, I had people like old man George Silutongwe. He handheld me in that space. You have no idea. Some people wouldn't even know. We call him GCS.
Yeah, Uncle George.
Uncle George.
Oh, yes.
I promise you, he handheld me in that space. And in the same insurance business, Mr. Muteto, Shipango Muteto.
Ah, yes.
He was my boss, the supervisor. And those are people who actually really made me feel like insurance is the career to get into. And both of them are what I probably want to call the gurus in insurance. Even today,
their passion has never diminished.
Absolutely not. So they've been there for what? And obviously my good old man, the late Jerry Molele, may his soul rest in peace. He is the man who I went to his office at ZISC at some point. I told him, I said, I'm going for this interview. He said, Yangwi, okay, fine, not a problem. So you need to look representable.
Wow.
Says, and then he got some money and said, you need to go and buy a tie. You need to look. I was like, this man. I said, And it reminded me, I said, when we were joining ZISC in our younger years, the moment you are employed in ZISC, the first thing that they do is they give you they give you a loan before you even get your offer letter, and they give you a loan to go and buy clothes.
Some decent clothes.
Don't embarrass the brand. They don't want to embarrass the brand. And I'm like, And then he said, we used to have a corporate image committee.
Hey!
I was like, what? I said, yeah.
The good old days.
Good old days. And funny enough, and this is me, that thing has stuck in me.
Yes.
I sit in the office, sometimes people take it and say, look, you need to look the part.
Correct.
At any given time. Don't come looking otherwise. Just look the part. If you need assistance, we will give you a loan. So that you come back looking the part. So we had those people in that space. And then in my telecom sector, I'll spill the base now. The one who said, Bweraku sell to Zagura Motoka is no other than Amon Jerry.
Akuru.
So good. So he was 3 years my senior at secondary school in Livingstone at Central Affairs.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's how we just blended in, and he was very forceful in as much as he actually asked me to actually move to Celtel. Man, but he was my director, not my direct supervisor.
Right.
But when we're sitting in to do sales calls, I'm like, dude, I thought we know each other.
You're like, no, it's business.
This is business.
The old saying, no friendship on business.
No friendship on business.
As was said at every cantimba.
And he would just say, guys, if you're not selling, you're out. You're not selling, you're out. And then it was very interesting period. But look, fast forward, I think we learned exactly what we were trying to do ultimately.
Now, you're clearly the embodiment of your network is your net worth.
Absolutely.
Because your networks have been instrumental in you making these moves. And so after having settled, you highlighted that you had the good fortune of being allowed to do that sabbatical. But what drove you to want to chase down that MBA? Did you feel there was something missing? What did you want to add?
Well, I think, first of all, as you rightly mentioned, there was something which was missing. Still wanted to look for appetite. And if you realize, there was a time, I think, there was almost an outbreak of degrees.
Yes.
And then I said, look, okay, fine, let me just step up. Just
Go
a
up a
bit.
notch, yeah.
Just go up a notch. And the thing is, so it was my immediate young brother. So he got his first degree, and then almost immediately, then he went to do his master's. I was like, no. You're my young brother.
Not happening.
It's not happening. So I stepped up to say I'm going to do it. But unfortunately, or was it unfortunately, so he decided to step up. So he did his PhD. I'm like, okay, you know what?
Okay. Do we see a PhD loading?
Well, I think the PhD would have been loading if I didn't start my political career.
Exactly.
I'd have been Dr. Sikumba.
There we go. It's a nice ring to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. But then I said, no, okay, let me just consider now just being a business person so that I figure out what to do. So I think, to answer your question, that is what was my drive, to really just understand what was going on. And then also, I think what was important for me is to get an international exposure qualification,
Right.
which would also give me an opportunity to get international exposure in terms of work.
Right.
And that was the plan, to say, look, if you're really going to compete in the corporate world, obviously, you needed to have a little bit of some international exposure, so at least you can leverage in terms of intrinsic value. If you're going to be paid a salary, you say, look, I worked in Dubai, I worked in Saudi, I worked in the US.
Yeah.
So I've got more experience, I've got more networks. That was the idea.
Oh, brilliant. And you highlighted that your drive for the initial degree was, I'm going to be an economist and I'm going to head into government. Then government comes along, which is where you are now. Now, government is not for the faint-hearted.
No.
I know everybody feels they can do it better than whoever is sitting in a particular position. There's constant criticism. How do you handle that? And does it affect you?
Well, I think, as I mentioned earlier, when your ducks are in a row, you actually believe that some of these things really don't just happen. I'm a firm believer of destiny.
Right.
Let me put it that way.
Right.
And my 3-year stint in Zambia really gave me an idea of what a parastatal looks like, and probably that's quasi-government, but what core civil service is all about.
Right. Right.
And I can tell you one thing: you really need to be patient,
Right.
to understand the bureaucracy
Right.
within the government
Right.
system. So there's one or two things that can happen. Either you work towards to make it work, or you get consumed into the process.
Right.
And you realize that career civil servants have actually been consumed in the system. So there's very little that you can tell them on what to do.
Right.
It's all about the process, and
Right.
that's what they follow.
Right.
Which is not a bad thing, but if you're going to follow a process, it needs to be executed within a finite period.
Correct.
Rather than into perpetuity, you don't even know when it's going to happen.
Open-ended.
Open-ended. It doesn't work that way. So we brought in a flair of the corporate side to say, look, this is what we can possibly do. I've been in office 3 years and some change. The first year wasn't easy. It was tough. Fortunately for me, because of what I did prior to getting into office, where I had interfaced with core government itself when I was chairperson for Livingstone Tourism Association, it gave me an idea of who was sitting where, in which office. And you understand that from 2016, I had been interfacing with this same ministry that I'm privileged to manage this time around. So it was easy. So I would know also, Kamiza is director of this. Okay, fine.
Right.
I already have a relationship with him.
Right.
Whether good or bad. But we have a
It's
relationship.
like, okay, I know you.
I know you. Director this, and the like. Then you realize that it was a bit of a smooth landing.
Yeah.
I could only imagine if I was just like a greenhorn from nowhere, and then I'd say, okay, fine, no. So you're Kamiza. Okay, so what do you do? Oh, no, this is what I do. You'd probably be telling me lies.
Trying to figure it out.
Trying to figure it out. So I was fortunate enough that I had that smooth landing.
Right.
But suffice to say, that in itself also does not warrant me to say, look, it's easy. The government bureaucracy is something that you really have to manage very well.
I hear you.
And in managing very well, it's about really taking time to understand what is sitting in the statutes.
Right.
It's about the law.
Right.
Rules and regulation.
Right.
Because ultimately, we're custodians of public funds.
Yes.
We are purely individuals who are nominated to run affairs of the country on behalf of the citizens. So essentially, we are not supposed to do things willy-nilly. You have to follow by the book. But then you find that people don't want to follow the book, or others would want to hide behind the bureaucracy, which becomes a bit difficult and extremely frustrating.
Right.
But I think not all hope is lost. From the flavor that we brought in as a UPND, slowly but surely, the civil service is slowly reforming, if I can put it that way. But it hasn't been easy.
I hear you. Now, you're obviously a people person. That's a given. What do you enjoy the most about the job that you're doing now?
Well, I think it's just an extension of what I went to do in 2016 when I left Lusaka.
Yes.
Yeah, so I run a small little outfit. I'm the ice guy. Remember I was telling you about if somebody tells you, say, who are you?
That's
so
right.
I moved from Rodney Airtel to Rodney Ice
Yes.
because I started freezing water.
The supplier.
Yeah, the supplier. So, and that's a business that I started prior to even leaving. I think I started it in 2013. And I must mention that I'm like one of the biggest ice suppliers within the southern province, which it's okay. It's a good business. Just water, purify it, freeze it, store it, sell it.
Yes.
Yeah, no brainer. Just press start on.
Freeze.
Yeah, exactly. So you find that along the way, it's just become an extension of what I started doing.
Right.
Which obviously was tourism. And I love having fun. Right. And I don't like dull moments. Yeah. Even when I'm doing events or anything else, I have to make sure that whoever I'm inviting, my guests, I leave a lasting impression to say, look, we actually went for an event. I've got a good friend who works for Zamto now. His name is Chibeza. And he always just says, when he meets me, he just says, events is our thing. I say, yeah, that's what we do.
That's the motto.
That's the motto. Events is our thing. So events on both sides, attending events and organizing events.
Right.
So for me, it's a case of really creating fun and having a cadre of staff who actually get to understand to say, look, this is what we want to do.
Right.
You really can't do much if you're not happy with what you're doing. And I've always said it before, and I'll say it again. You can only do much if you enjoy what you're doing. And my boss, President Nagainde Chidema, will always tell us, I say, look, you need to enjoy what you're doing. Otherwise, you will not get anywhere.
True.
If I give you a task and you're not enjoying it, I can tell you you're going to give me substandard work.
True.
But if you go in there, I've said it to my team, if you wake up in the morning, if you're singing in the shower on the tap, just know you're going to have a fantastic day.
Yes.
But if you're gloomy and you don't even want to get out of bed, and
disaster.
It's a disaster. You might as well stay at home. So I've gotten to a point where I encourage my team to say, look, let's just have fun. So for me, it's just an extension of what I used to do. Nothing has changed. The only thing that has changed is that there's rules and regulations of what I need to do.
Right.
And then obviously I report to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Zambia, and I need to carry myself in a certain manner.
Exactly.
Certain decorum has to be exercised. So
you basically exponentially grew from the tourist capital to the entire country.
To the entire country.
All matters and issues of tourism.
And surprise, surprise, today to the entire Africa. As I'm sitting here, I'm the chairperson for the Commission for Africa for UN Tourism.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. Well deserved.
Absolutely.
Very well deserved. Your passion has always burned through and shown through each and every interaction. Your eyes light up when you talk about tourism. And one thing that I know you were very instrumental in driving, and you were ambassador for this, and you still speak about it on a regular basis, is Holiday ya Moloko.
Absolutely.
Where did the inspiration for that come from, and what drives that?
Well, I think we started this in 2022 when I was just about a year and a couple of months into office. So the big thing that came to my office, obviously, by the instruction of the president was we need to drive the domestic tourism.
Right.
And then the other feelers that we were getting, obviously, from the locals was that local tourism is expensive. So my task almost immediately was to demystify the myth that local tourism is expensive.
Right.
And how to only do that was to, first of all, really start telling them, say, look, there's enough space for everyone. Now, I keep joking. And I tell myself, you see, with our Gen Zs, our 2000s.
I'm a 2000s.
I'm a 2000s. You see, there's all this, the gram.
Yes.
They want to take pictures and whatnot. So if you're going to take pictures for the gram, which obviously you're wearing a robe, you've got a bottle of bubbles, Dom Perignon, or a Veuve Rich on the side.
Yeah, living the life.
And you're sitting on a bed with 500 thread count sheets for those pictures.
Egyptian
cotton. That can only come from the likes of the Royal Livingston.
Right.
Now, definitely, if you're going to go into the Royal Livingston, you're definitely going to pay, you're not going to pay 500 kwacha.
It's a premium destination.
It's a premium destination.
Yes.
And I said before, when I was their age, I would go to a backpacker.
Right.
I would go to a Jolly Boys.
Right.
And the only reason why I would sleep is probably for a couple of minutes. And then I'm all about going.
It's a recharge.
It's a recharge. Power nap. Just go to sleep, wake up again, party, and I'm done.
Yeah.
Guess what? I'll still get on a bus.
Exactly.
Or probably, if we're even more lucky, would carpool, put fuel.
That's it.
4 or 5 of us, then we drive to a destination.
Right.
And then
Right.
But then today, you'd find that the people complaining that a destination such as Livingston is expensive, it's because they want to stay in the Royal, they want to stay in the Radisson. No. There's enough space for everyone. It's all about how deep your pocket is. So, backwards. So, Holiday Am Local was obviously to say, look, there's a variety for everyone, number one.
Right.
Number two, we had now to engage the operators to say, look, how best can you assist us? This is the challenge that I'm faced with as minister. A lot of our citizens are complaining that you're expensive. Do we have local rates?
Local rate, exactly.
So then they say, oh yeah, but we do have local rates. I said, but we don't see them.
No.
So why don't you advertise them? Well, at least just give me a quota. It doesn't really matter. If it's 30% of your occupancy, to say it's for locals, once you exhaust 30%, then you can go about your business.
Right.
So we started it. The first round obviously didn't do well, and we had to really rethink our strategy. Now, rethinking our strategy was now to sit with the operators, engage them, to actually give them an idea of where we want to take this thing. First of all, is to actually identify who's the local. Is it Zambians? Zambians living with permanent residency? And all those. Fine, tick the box. The next thing is, where do they like to go? We identified our holiday spots, Tiabonga, Livingstone, whichever it is, Lower Zam, tick the box. The next thing was to make them commit.
Yes.
So we had to onboard them to say, look, Sierra, as an example, we want you to give us local rates so that we can advertise. Royal Livingstone, Avani, Radisson, Intercontinental, whichever it is, we onboard you so that once we advertise, this is what happens. And surprise, surprise, we saw a very good uptake, positive uptake. And then people started getting to understand those places. Then we also realized that some of these places are actually not known to our locals. Khamiza, you'll be amazed to learn that the bulk of our locals, the Zambians, they cannot put together a holiday package. They've got the money, quite all right. But to tell you to say, look, I want you to leave the copper belt, but I never just say, no, come here to Livingstone. They'll just ask you, I said, but Kuyashan to Livingstone first. I don't blame them, but somebody has to do it for them.
Exactly.
In the developed world, it happens. They'll just tell you, we're going to take you on safari. We're taking you to Africa.
And it's all streamlined for you.
You. And that is what I'm trying to inculcate in my operators, to say, create packages.
That's it.
Make it easy for that would-be tourist to actually visit any of these destinations.
Exactly.
Ship them in and then ship them out. So it's flights, transfers, accommodation, and excursions. It becomes easy for that particular tourist to just pay a ballpark figure.
Correct.
I'll tell you a very classic example when I was chairman in Livingstone LTA. So post-COVID, So then people are now looking to go out.
Exactly.
And so forth. And then there were very little places where to go to, or obviously few places to leave the country.
Correct.
Everybody had to travel. Then we had a few clients out of the Copper Belt who came through. I promise you, they stayed there for like 6 days. Then they were checking out. Then they came with a bag full of cash.
Oh, wow.
And then the GM just told me, I said, Minister, I've never seen so. No, I wasn't minister.
No,
I was chairman.
at the time you were chairman.
I was
Mr.
chairman. Mr. Chairman. I said, you know what? For the first time, we've had to buy a money counter. Because people just do EFT. They transfer.
Exactly.
They transfer
and now
money. Suddenly, Wakopala came with a whole sack.
Back to the basics.
Back to the basics. So then you realize that they still don't know how to do it.
Yeah.
No pun intended to my colleagues from the Kopala, but it's just to say somebody needs to actually take advantage of that niche, create packages for them so that you can take them around
That's it.
Livingston, Lower Zambezi, Shavonga, Kafue National Park, South Luangwa, wherever. So we need to create these particular packages for them.
I like that. And I think you've probably already touched on my next question, which is where you envisage Zambian tourism in the next few years. And you've highlighted something that is key. So it's not the lack of resource. It's, okay, but how do I go about all of this? And it's the headache that's involved in, okay, so I need to book flights.
Yes.
And now I need to book a room. And okay, so what activities are going on? And nobody has time for that. Because if you're busy trying to chase the proverbial paper, you're too busy to start sitting down. And so there's an opportunity out there that's waiting to be tapped into by local operators. But where do you envisage tourism generally?
Well, I think one thing I would tell you very, very quickly is that tourism in Zambia is on the rise. What you will see now, the amount of work we're doing in the background is something that next 2 years we'll probably point back and say, look, what we did in 2023, 2024 is actually yielding results.
Right.
That is only evidenced by numbers. Just the other day, I was actually publishing numbers on my socials to say, look, we've never broken the 2 million barrier we have in end of 2024. Wow. And if you look at your flash forecast for 2025, first quarter, we're already ahead of target. And if we're going to go on the same trend, first quarter is usually quiet because obviously in terms of the season starts in May all the way there.
Right.
We're already going to hit numbers. My internal target is about 3 million. My team says no, 2.2, 2.4.
Ooh.
I said, okay, fine, not a problem, but I want to push to 3 million exit 2025. That in itself also speaks to opportunities for private investors to invest in the sector.
Right.
There's no reason why. Look, with the current infrastructure, and then you grow your numbers by 500,000, where will they be? What will they do? You end up frustrating the client as opposed to actually making them very, very excited. So it triggers an opportunity for you, local investors, to invest in the sector.
Right.
And that's where we want to see it. And then also, from the Africa perspective, the regional perspective, we're actually saying, how best can we keep our Africans to stay and visit Africa itself, as opposed to leaving the continent? A third of all the tourists who actually go out of, or who holiday makers in Africa, they spend their money out of the continent.
Right.
And then you wonder, everybody wants to go to Dubai, they want to go to US, they want to go to UK, Paris, all these other places.
That's it.
When there's actually opportunities here. And remember, so we're not sitting idle. We're saying, what does Camisa go to Paris for? Oh no, he was looking to go and find Louis Vuitton or whichever it is. So we're saying we're not going to bring Louis Vuitton in Africa. And hence what we're trying to do in Zambia today when we open up the Sekute financial district.
Right.
That in itself will replicate a duty-free where you're going to have all these fancy brands that you're talking about to be sitting in Zambia. So you don't have to leave. So if there's somebody who's coming from Senegal or Cote d'Ivoire, they come here, they can go and do their shopping, their Gucci, Louis Vuitton, whichever it is. So it's right here. So we're really putting our ducks in a row to just ensure that any non-tourist within Africa, indeed, obviously Zambia as well, they don't have to go far to enjoy. And remember also, in the background, we're also working on air connectivity. We're working on issues of visas.
Right.
Look, we can't be asking for visas from our brothers and sisters in Africa.
Same continent.
It doesn't make sense. We can't be denying air access for our airlines within the African continent.
No.
It just doesn't make sense.
No.
So my marching orders, obviously, is to engage our colleagues from transport, our colleagues from home affairs,
Right.
our colleagues from foreign affairs within the African continent, to just relax some of these things so that we create more synergy within Africa. It's 10 times more difficult to travel Africa than it is in Europe. And you wonder why. So it's just about the political will which we as ministers of tourism are trying to drive,
Right.
which obviously will give benefit to tourism in our various countries.
So basically, you'll be at the forefront of driving, making the tourism business more enabled and empowered to be able to reach its full potential.
Great, yeah.
Very, very positive. Very positive. We've talked business. Let's talk family life. Now, as a parent, what type of parent are you? And what's your parenting style? And added to that, as a secondary question, if there was one thing that you'd like your kids to remember about the lessons that you've taught them, what would it be?
Well, I think my parenting style is a hybrid. I'm very hard on my kids, but then again, I'm the modern parent.
Right.
And being the modern parent simply means that I need to find out exactly who they are, what they're trying to do.
Right.
I'll probably tell you. I mean, today, if I told my dad to say, "Look, Dad, I've got a girlfriend," he would beat the hell out of me.
No, those are words you never brought around your parents.
You have a what? Instead of school, he would smack me.
Yeah.
But then, fast forward today, he'd be like, "Oh, so do you have a boyfriend? Do you have a girlfriend?"
Yeah.
I even initiate the conversation. That's
Exactly.
the one side. But I'm more strict. I'm pretty much like my dad. My dad was a very straight person, very strict.
Right. Right.
Didn't miss his words. But more so, I think the one thing that I learned, and this would never leave me probably until my departure out of this earth,
Right.
is just to focus. My
Right.
dad taught me hard work. You never achieve anything without hard work. And what I tell my kids, I said, look, I'm the minister. I'm the MP.
Right.
Not you.
Let's get this clear.
Let's get it clear. If you want to be a minister, if you want to be an MP, work hard.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Now remember, this is my money. So when we're going out on holiday or anything and then we go shopping, I said, look, this is how much money I'm going to give you for your shopping.
Right.
Don't catch feelings because you don't have enough money. It's my money.
It's mine. I'm being generous.
I'm being generous to you. So if you're going to do any bigger shopping than what you can afford in that thing, work hard so that you get. So that's what I try to instill in my children at the moment. But yeah, you know how kids are.
Oh.
They'll go about. They'll be complaining.
Exactly.
They'll be doing all sorts of things. Then you feel bad, and then you increase it by another 10%. Then you go back. But ultimately, if they listen, one thing they know is it's all about focus and all about hard work.
Yes.
That's what I've just made it plain and simple.
Now, our kids have a way of figuring out how to push the right buttons. And no matter how strict you are, you just sort of crumble. Okay, fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
Works every time. Now, in terms of your circle, I mean, you've highlighted quite clearly that you've benefited from destiny putting you in the path of some really great people who've helped catapult you to where you are and have helped your transition from different roles to be easier and smoother. Who's your go-to person when you know I need sound advice here and I can run to this person and I know they'll give me insight?
Wow. Very, very interesting. You know, in as much as I mentioned that, look, I know a lot of people know me, and that I've got a very close-knit circle.
Right.
And I can safely tell you that my close-knit circle is no more than 5 people. Yeah, I leave it really close-knit. But most times, obviously, my go-to person is my aunt, my dad. She's the only surviving parent, if you can put it quote unquote.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
At some point, we got off on a wrong footing many years ago. And I think she didn't just understand how I was thinking. And I can just said, look, this child is a rebel and whatnot. But I think fast forward, then she realized, I said, look, you know what? Maybe I should have given him a benefit of a doubt.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But that she's my go-to person. I just let her know, say, look, Auntie Josephine, this is what's going on.
Right.
What are your thoughts? And she told me. She's quite hard. I think she's much stricter than what my dad was.
She's a straight shooter. Eh?
Yeah, she's a straight shooter. She will not miss. And when she's not happy, she'll just leave it. She'll just look at you and go ahead.
And you know.
Yeah. Then you know. And just leave her. Leave her to simmer after some time, and then you can get back to
Go
her.
back and try and revisit the topic.
Absolutely.
It's always good to have a safe place like that.
Exactly.
And as we are starting to wind down this conversation, 10 years from now, what would you like to look at as your achievement and accomplishments?
Well, I think, you see, because of the kind of sector that I'm in, I've been really entrenched in the whole FMCG, that's number one. And then I'm in the hospitality sector. Tourism is about a feel-good product. It's
Right.
It's not tangible. It's a feeling. So having been given an opportunity to be in this ministry for 3 years and a couple of months now, almost 4 years, gives me that opportunity to say, look, how can I change the complexion of the sector today?
Right.
And the only way you can change it is to benchmark with what you see from outside around the continent itself, and also what we experience whenever we go out. I strongly believe Zambia is one country that can actually get to that particular level. I've always said Zambia has been the best kept secret. It probably needed for us, the UPND, to actually come into office so that we actually change the complexion. Our president, your president, is very passionate about the sector, very, very supportive, I should say so myself. And I think given an opportunity, 2 3 years, what you will see within the sector is something that probably would never seen before. So pertaining to legacy, by hook or crook, born in Livingstone, bred in Livingstone, area member of parliament in Livingstone, Livingstone being the tourist capital, my legacy should be where I create Livingstone,
Right.
like a Sharm el-Sheikh, Livingstone, like a Marrakesh, Livingstone, like a Cape Town, that whole combo. Then I'll be able to say, look, yes, indeed, I did a fantastic job.
Oh, fantastic. Now, you mentioned quite a few cities there. You're a well-traveled man. Which is your favorite country or city and why? Outside of, obviously, Zambia is number one.
Zambia number one.
Yeah, but outside of Zambia, your favorite city or country, and what is it about it that endeared itself to you?
You know, I'll tell you what. I think, again, being fortunate enough to be Minister of Tourism and then sitting at the Executive Council of UN Tourism. So we normally have our meetings in very, very exotic places. Places which ordinarily I would never even go to.
Okay.
What's this place? But 2 years ago, I was fortunate enough to go to the Dominican Republic. Yeah, a city called Punta Cana.
Right.
My oh my. I'll retire there.
Really?
I'll retire there. It's got all the bells and whistles. It's got the water. It's got the beaches. It's got the golf courses.
Oh my goodness.
I love my golf.
Perfect.
And I promise you, fantastic golf courses there. It's so Caribbean.
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
Little
It's just-
paradise tucked away.
It's a little paradise tucked away, and then it's got a good vibe, if I can put it that way. And I like going back there. I've gone back there 3 times now.
Clearly,
Yeah.
it's a place you like.
Absolutely. So I don't know which other place I'd go to.
Oh, wow, fantastic. Yeah. And obviously, your work is quite stressful. What does your de-stressing look like? What do you do to decompress and just get yourself back into a calm state and a relaxed state?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, the things that I do in my life, I work, I cook, and I play golf. So if I
repeat.
Yeah, and repeat. And if I'm feeling really off, I promise you, I'll knock off early from work, and I go straight in the kitchen. And I always want to start prepping my meal first. See me cutting onions, tomatoes, garlics, the whole shebang, and then that's when I start to cook. Then I feel better.
Impressive. So cooking is your therapy.
It's my therapy, that I'll tell you.
That is fantastic. As we wrap up, final question. What would you tell 14-year-old you? With all that you've seen, all that you've learned, all that you've experienced, if you were able to travel back in time and meet 14-year-old you, what would you tell him?
What would I tell myself? Geez, from the trials and tribulations I've gone through.
Exactly. The battle scars and
The
all.
battle scars and all. I think I'll probably say to be patient. Yeah, I'll say to be patient. You know, you can easily get into a roller coaster in your life and then you crash. Funny enough that you asked me that question, because I just had a conversation with one of my siblings. And my words to him was, I've actually gone through a lot of trials and tribulations that you might not even know.
Right.
So whenever I tell you not to do this, I know exactly what I'm telling you.
Been there, done that.
I've been there, done it. How I've navigated is not a story for today. But I think what I'll tell myself at 14 is to just be patient and focus. That is what is important. Because at that age, man, we're just thinking we are superstars. And when we get to 16, 17, we're adults and we think we can get away with anything.
I hear you.
So it'll be important that you just take a chill pill, relax, be the child.
Be the child, eh? Just be in that moment.
Be in that moment.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, don't be 18 when you're only 14. Don't
Right.
be 21 when you're only 14.
Right.
You will be 21 at some point.
You will get there. Sound advice.
Yeah.
Thank you so very much for taking time out to chat with us. It's always a joy to learn new things. And I think there's something that you haven't mentioned that I would have loved for you to touch on, but I'll let the cat out of the bag. And I've seen your prowess as a sommelier.
Absolutely.
Where you highlight the nuances of what makes a good wine. And when you're having these conversations, I sit there saying, okay, how does he know all this stuff? Where did that come from?
Well, again, it's about trying out new stuff. So Rodney Airtel, Rodney the Ice Guy, and then along the way, obviously, to blend with hospitality, to blend with tourism.
Right.
I just found a newfound love. Now, I used to drink a lot of whiskey, by the way, from school, from university. We were the gang who used to
The crew.
The crew that used to drink whiskeys and whatnot. And then I realized that it was really wearing me down, obviously after school. And then I said, okay, let me take a chill pill on the bit of some whiskey. Then I said, what am I going to drink? Definitely not a lager. Then I found new love for wine. Yeah. Then, it's all about being sophisticated. When you get your palate going, then you say, okay, so what do I do? Then you start drinking finer wines.
Right.
Then you start knowing, okay, fine, you can only drink this during the day.
Right.
In the summer, in the winter.
Right.
And so eventually they can pairing with meals.
Right.
And so that in itself also complemented my distress system in the kitchen. So I can safely tell you that 7 out of my 10 meals, I cook with wine.
Wow.
There's two ingredients I play around with.
Yes.
Wine and soy sauce. Those don't miss in my kitchen.
Amazing. Amazing. Now, like I said, I have seen your prowess, and you came shy of just telling us what size of shoes the person was stomping the grapes.
Absolutely.
Thank you so, so much. It's been amazing. We've learned some new details about you. We've got to see your personal side. We've got to understand what drives your motor and your passion and your desire to achieve and accomplish things. And we know how busy your schedule is. So thank you for taking time out to be on Nkwazi Unfiltered. We're truly grateful. It's been a wonderful chat.
Thank you very much for having this lovely chat, Kamiza. And I was looking forward to probably even having more time. But in any case, we'll have a part 2, I suppose.
Definitely. Time certainly flies when you're having fun.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And there we have it. It's a wrap. We've been chatting with the Honorable Minister of Tourism here in the Republic of Zambia, Rodney Sikumba. He's told us so much about how he grew up and everything that motivates him, and a little bit more than we knew before we started. Be sure to catch the very next episode of Nkwazi Unfiltered, where we get to tell you more about the most interesting people in Zambia. My name is Nkwazi Unfiltered. It's been fun as always.
There's no us without you, so we say thank you.